Chelsea took some time to get going in this transfer window. While Real Madrid, Spurs and Liverpool were busy securing new signings, they were just in the shadows. But now they've got off the mark, they now seem to be in the mood to get a lot done. Following the completion of the transfer of Marco Palestra, which was the first signing of the Xabi Alonso era, the Blues are now looking to complete the signing of another defender, Maxence Lacroix. Chelsea fans surely know a lot about him, considering he's been playing in the Premier League for 2 years now. But why does the club seem so interested in getting him? That's what we're here to talk about today. This is why Chelsea want Maxence Lacroix.
Hey fam, this is your chance to build the jersey collection you've been waiting for. The Goal 90 bundle deal is live. Buy 2 jerseys and get 10% off. Buy 3 and get 15% off. Buy 4 and get a massive 25% off. Club kits, country kits, retro classics, pick your favourites and save big. And yes, every order comes with free worldwide shipping. Goal 90 bundle deal. Buy more, save more. Shop now at Goal 90 Shop.
First of all, reports say that Chelsea is looking to sell Trevor Chalobah this summer, with the defender being heavily linked to Como. If they're going to lose a defender, it only makes sense that they replace him with another. And here they've decided to upgrade on the one they had, because by every metric, Lacroix is a better centre-back than Chalobah. Lacroix is a no-nonsense player who reads the game very well. In the just concluded season, he was third in the entire Premier League for most interceptions, behind just Van Dijk and Senesi. He doesn't waste time, this guy. He sees potential trouble, he clears it instantly. Every top team needs a guy like this on his team. What's more, he's a really tall guy, and we've said already that height and physicality is something that's really missing in that Chelsea team right now. Their tallest outfield players are guys who don't start, guys like Tosin and Badiashile. At 6'4", Lacroix will become the tallest outfield starter at Chelsea next season, taller than Levi Colwill, who stands at 6'2". But not only is Lacroix tall, he also knows how to make use of his height. He was one of the best when it came to winning aerial duels in the Premier League this season. He was 7th in the entire league for the most aerial duels won, so you can tell that he's a beast in the air. This will certainly be very beneficial to Chelsea in both boxes. With good crossers like Reece James, Cole Palmer, Pedro Neto and the rest at the club, you would expect Lacroix to get at the end of a lot of chances, especially from set pieces, and maybe contribute to goals. He scored 3 goals this season, one of which came against United, and you can just see those numbers going up when he's surrounded by much better crossers and creators. And yeah, he's strong in the air and great at doing the dirty defensive work, but he's also a neat passer. He completed over 1,600 passes in the Premier League this season, with an accuracy of 88%. For context, Van Dijk had an 89% pass accuracy, Gabriel had an 88% accuracy, while Guehi had an 89% accuracy. So Lacroix actually finds himself in good company in that aspect. As we know, Xabi Alonso is a coach who often likes to build out from the back, so a player like Max Lacroix seems like he'll be good for that type of system. Of course, we don't expect they'll have the primary build-up responsibilities, as we expect that to be Colwill's job, but Lacroix will certainly be able to hold his own when he has the ball at his feet. Now, in the just concluded season, Chelsea had one major problem, which we believe signing Lacroix could solve to a large extent. We'll get to that in a second, but if you aren't yet subscribed to the channel, go do that right away so that you never miss out on our amazing content. Done? Okay, now back to the video. In the 2025-26 season, Chelsea suffered a bit of an injury crisis, and it appeared that it was their defenders who suffered the most. Levi Colwill, Wesley Fofana, Reece James and Benoit Badiashile all missed a good number of games due to injury, which forced them to field a relatively weak back two of Tosin and Chalobah for a lot of games. Also, partly because of that, we saw the young Mamadou Sarr being thrown into the deep end in a Champions League knockout game where he made an error leading to a goal. But here you have Lacroix, who didn't miss a single game due to injury for Crystal Palace this season. He featured in 35 of the 38 Premier League games Palace played in the just concluded campaign, starting all 35 of those games. And in fact, one of those games he didn't play was the final game of the season against champions Arsenal, and that was simply because the coach was resting him for the Conference Conference League final, which was only 3 days later. Across all competitions, Lacroix featured in 55 games for Palace. This is the kind of reliability Chelsea needs right now. A player who's not an injury risk like Wesley Fofana and Reece James. One thing you can certainly trust Lacroix to do is to stay fit. Since he moved to the Premier League 2 years ago, he's not suffered a single injury. He's always been available and reliable. In fact, the only time in his professional career that he had a real injury problem was back in 2023 when he hurt his shoulder and missed 4 games. Stuff like this just cannot be ignored. An available player is sometimes more valuable than a top player, and Lacroix is both. Also, he's a pretty disciplined player. Chelsea had some real disciplinary issues this season which cost them a lot. They had 2 players in the top 5 for most yellow cards in the league, and they also had the player with the most red cards in the league. It was pretty bad and it hurt them a lot. Lacroix, meanwhile, only got 6 yellow cards in 55 appearances across all competitions this season. And yes, he saw his first Premier League red card in the game against Man United, but everyone will admit that that was a pretty harsh decision. It's not every day that you see a foul get punished with both a penalty and a red card, especially a foul as soft as that. So yeah, we'll say that he's a very disciplined player overall, and that's something this Chelsea team desperately needs. He also brings a winning mentality to this Chelsea team. He was part of a truly historic period in Crystal Palace's history, helping them win their first ever trophy in 2025 by beating Man City in the FA Cup final, and then helping them win their first ever European trophy in 2026 by beating Rayo Vallecano in the Europa Conference League final. He was a major part of both squads and even played the full 90 minutes in those finals. His years at Crystal Palace have taught him to really grind, and the fact that he managed to win trophies with that team, despite them hardly being favourites, must have done a lot of good to his mentality. Being able to bring that to a young Chelsea side would be really valuable. And don't forget that he's a France international as well. He made his France first team debut this year and is currently even at the World Cup with Les Bleus, and the coach trusted him enough to play him for the full 90 minutes in the big group stage clash against Norway. There's just so much he can learn by being with that group of players who are the best in the world and are serial winners. Heck, there's even a possibility that by the time he'll be officially joining Chelsea later in the summer, he could be a world champion. Who knows? All in all, this seems like a great deal. Maxence Lacroix is expected to go for about £50 million, which in the current market is not a bad price at all for a player in his prime years who already has experience playing in the Premier League. In fact, having played for Palace for the past 2 years, he's surely already used to the weather and culture in London. So he won't be needing any time to adjust, he'll just be able to hit the ground running. That too is an added advantage. It might seem small, but things like this can really make a massive difference. Basically, this really does seem to us like it's a perfect move for Chelsea, but we now want to hear what you guys think. What do you guys think about this one? In your opinion, is this the centre-back Chelsea should be going for? How well do you think Maxence Lacroix will perform at Stamford Bridge? Get in the comments and talk to us. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Also, turn on the bell notification so that you never miss out on new content. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye.